Survival games are truly in fashion, and I've been launching one after another with it, and Nightingale sets itself apart by having a very unique gas lamp fantasy premise to draw you in and for using Unreal Engine 5. Our target character is a realm walker who ventures through what is known as the Fey Realms, filled with all sorts of enemies, creatures, and beautifully designed biomes. You'll never be filled with as much wonder as you are in Nightingale when exploring, crafting, surviving, and fending off some of the most incredibly detailed monsters a survival game can offer. You can also play this game either solo or with friends, and it offers both an offline and online mode. The Immortals of Aveum sadly didn't live up to It Takes Two as the EA double a video game hit everyone was hoping for it to be, and even dropped to as low as PS1 at one point due to poor sales. However, you shouldn't let any of that deter you from giving Immortals of Aveum a try, because this game might actually impress you with its high concept and vision. Immortals of Aveum blends high fantasy spellcasting with the mechanics of frenetic FPS games like Doom and Bioshock. Dubbing itself a magic shooter, it assembles a terrific cast with lots of Hollywood stars, features some excellent boss fights and refreshing FPS gameplay, and is overall just a very fun magical sci-fi blast.
Gate's closed.
Lords of the Fallen 2020-23 is yet another reimagined video game making use of Unreal Engine 5, and this one is based on the 2014 title of the same name, which wasn't quite as well received. Obviously, the graphics and visuals now look and feel much more next-gen with UE 5, and this 2023 version also gives Lords of the Fallen a far more expansive map and story. It's a Souls-like game widely considered as being on the same level of polish as Lies of P for a non-From Software title. One of the coolest features it brings to the genre is having to fight a variety of creatures and bosses across two distinct realms, the realm of the dead, Umbral, and the realm of the living, Axiom. (2023's Layers of Fear is the first game prolific Polish horror studio Bloober Team created with Unreal Engine 5, with the remake of Silent Hill 2 being the next. Although the original Layers of Fear games still weren't even a decade old, they have become fully reimagined and are now connected in the 2023 game into one single story, including all the DLC. If the environmental details and graphic and disturbing content weren't real enough, everything surely is now. By utilizing all that's possible with Unreal Engine 5, Layers of Fear has never looked so gorgeous and photorealistic with 4K resolution and ray tracing supported. It's one of the most immersive and scarily good-looking first-person psychological horror games available today.
I'm shaking. Judgment Day is here.
All these cops and the rowboat, something big is going down.
They came out of the trucks and they just started shooting at anything that moved.
Teon is a Double A developer known for its video game adaptations of 80s blockbuster action movies. While 2019's Terminator Resistance was still UE4, RoboCop Rogue U City shows just how amazing Alex Murphy taking on futuristic deep criminals can be in Unreal Engine 5. Peter Weller returns to voice the titular character he first portrayed on the screen in 1987, and the developers throw in many other Easter eggs from the films for fans. The combat and action are very over the top and capture the exact vibe of the films, especially with how destructible the environments are, the physics, Murphy's iconic Auto 9 and other weapons, and of course the Ed 209 fights.
Oh no, the smell is following you. I'm gonna be sick.
This seat is uncomfortable.
Look who's back home. Just toss him in one of the empty cells.
Joining the free-to-play multiplayer looter-shooter genre is the first descendant from Nexon. In an elevator pitch description, this game is Warframe, Destiny 2, Gears of War, and Stellar Blade rolled into one package. You can even perhaps argue Hades 2, since most of the playable descendants have their own unique Boon-esque abilities, like some that can deal frost and water damage to enemies. The game is free and has some very smooth gunplay and mission design, and there's really not much more to be said. It already comes with 14 playable descendant characters and has lots of detailed systems. The character and boss designs all feel very original as well. Plus there is an overarching sci-fi story resting on an object of great importance called the Iron Heart, and you must prevent the alien species called the Vulgus from taking it after they invade the planet Ingress.
Costumes of the living, acting out what they did before they turned. A grotesque parody of the blood ones held in that sacred place. Sacrifices to Freya. We can call to her too. Yes. And yes, she will come. But she will kill you. Just like she has so many of us.
Then what?
Even though the first game equally delivered on the graphics front, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is a visual masterpiece, or as Martin Scorsese would call it, cinema. I'm cinema. At times, Hellblade 2 can feel like an Unreal Engine 5 title, due to its short length and very linear gameplay, which has lots of cinematic cutscenes. But this is a game that's certainly a marvel on all fronts: the story, score, technical achievements. Hellblade 2 is a very different narrative adventure than the original, expanding the cast and incorporating giants from Norse myth into the storyline. Senua's Furies also evolve with her character development. The main highlights are the brilliant use of colours and photography, the immersive, continuously shot combat encounters involving brutal realistic animations, and the writing. Another horror game that takes advantage of Unreal Engine 5 is Still Wakes the Deep, and it's an atmospheric attack on all fronts of phobias. There's Lovecraftian sci-fi horror, psychological horror, body horror, fear of drowning, fear of the dark, and claustrophobia all present without the need to rely on jump scares. Listen Tartiel then do to watch Schultz that the game is set on an oil rig in the North Sea in the 1970s, and something the drill taps into unleashes a massive growth and infection. That claimed the crew of the Bearer D. As much as it's about the tension and unnerving horror of moving from area to area, there are some superb character performances by the voice cast, most of who are all Scottish. You can even fully play the game in Scottish Gaelic.
Jesus, fuck. Rope. No, you and all. Nice and slow. That's alright. I just need to make a call. Yeah? Aye. There we go. Alright, come and get some.
Another Souls-like game that's powered by Unreal Engine 5 is Remnant 2, the sequel to the 2019 hit that notably incorporated third-person shooting mechanics into the genre. And that's pretty much what Remnant is, and why it's viewed as more fun than any other Souls-like, because of its emphasis on gunplay and upgrading weapons. Remnant 2 is more of the same as what you see in the original game, though with some epic new bosses, NPCs like Nimue, player archetypes, and even more dimensions to travel to. Also, the game makes use of procedural generation, so any playthrough will always have something dynamically different for you to experience. Unlike Capcom Street Fighter titles that use the in-house Regame engine, other popular fighting game series like Mortal Kombat and Tekken prefer Unreal, with the 8th mainline Tekken entry in 2024 being developed with Unreal Engine 5. And as a result, it's definitely the best of the series visually. If you're a fan of Mortal Kombat, you'll have no trouble getting pulled into Tekken 8. It's likewise an ongoing fighting game story between protagonist Jin Kazuma and his father Kazumi Mishima, and centers around the Devil G, which allows certain characters to become a cooler, demonic version of themselves. The arena variety and giant roster will be more than enough to keep you occupied. Black Myth Wukong is an action role-playing game. It has sometimes been described as similar to Souls-like games in the media during the pre-release, even though Game Science does not consider it as Souls-like. It is inspired by the classical Chinese novel Journey to the West. The player controls a monkey referred to as the Destined One, who is based on Sun Wukong from the novel. The character's primary weapon is a staff known as the Ruiye Jing Bang. The player can make use of the character's various abilities and spells, including transformation spells that change the character into a different creature or being. One of the transformations is Guangiji, a wolfman who wields a fire glaive. The game has a skill tree to upgrade the character.